Right now I want you to take a look around the room. Find things that are green. These are green. Very clearly the tablecloth is green. This beautiful woman in the back has a green sweater on. She's like, don't you dare point me out. That's two things. What else is green? Anything else?
Yeah.
Rita's got some little leaves going on. Green in the rug. Oh, and this too, I noticed. Membership. Boy, it doesn't get any greener than that. Green. Now, play this game with me. Close your eyes. Close them. 1, 2. We're counting to 3, 4, 5. Keep them closed. Now I want you to recall everything in the room that you saw that was blue. Open your eyes. What happened?
Trick question.
She pulled one on me. She pulled one on me, and that's not fair. You were concentrating on green. That's exactly right. Does the blue exist?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. In this scenario, the green is the negative stuff. The blue is there. It's always there. So even when you're focusing on the negative, the blue still exists. It's a matter of telling yourself, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to find those positives. Your brain doesn't want to do it. Your ego doesn't want to do it. So it's traffic jam scenario. Has everyone in this room been in a traffic jam? Yeah. Okay. You come up over the hill and you come down the hill and there's a traffic jam. You're like, oh my God, and instantly, am I right? You get angst. Isn't that normally what we do? Think about the things that get you in that negative mode. I know the first thought that would probably come in most people's head is very simple. I'm going to be late. But give me some ideas of things that happen in your mind when you're driving and you're in that traffic jam that just sent you in a negative side. The fact that you're going to be late. You know what one woman said to me? I thought this was funny. She wasn't going to get the good donuts. The guy that brings the donuts in every Tuesday, all she's going to get is the old-fashioned donut. And what's more, somebody cut it in half to watch calories. Anybody else have a thought? What is it that, yeah?
Run out of gas.
It could very well happen. It could very, very well happen. And boy, that's just going to make it worse, isn't it? That's just going to send the ball rolling. Another one that someone pointed out to me, the regular parking lot is going to be full, therefore they have to park back and overflow. So there's one right there. And add insult to injury to that. Maybe it's raining and you don't have an umbrella. So now you got to walk and you don't feel like it in the rain. And all of this is going through your head. Anybody else? Anybody else? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
That is a tough one. Did you have one?
I have seen.
Same thing. Have to go to the bathroom and you're like, oh my God. Now let's look at the other side of things. And this is where your brain absolutely wants no desire to do this. Your ego takes over. But think of 5 things that are not so bad about being late.
You have alone time.
You do. You have alone time. And that's a great way to look at it. Just kind of decompress. Because sometimes even as you're driving in, your mind is going. What's another one?
I'll finally have a real excuse for being late.
You know, if you're 20 minutes late and you get a 10-minute break during the day, that's a half hour, and if you get a half-hour lunch, that's an hour. Your 8-hour day is now officially reduced to 7 hours. That's a plus. You don't have to be there all day long. You know, you could look at it too like the donuts aren't going to be there. You don't need them anyway. Didn't you tell yourself in January that you were going to do that whole thing where you're losing weight? Well, there you go. If you got
Meeting that you weren't prepared for.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. It's like, whew, you don't have to mess with it. See, God works in mysterious ways, they say. Things happen for a reason. What about that walk? You've been talking about how you need to get more exercise. Anybody else got another one?
People can shave and get their makeup on.
Yeah, that's what I call.
That's perfect. Oh, I don't have to move. It doesn't have to be legal, what I'm talking about. The second part of changing a perspective is accepting what is. Does anybody know what I mean? I know that's a very basic sentence. Any idea what that means?
You can't change it. Don't
There's
do
really
it.
nothing you can do about it.
It's just,
Right.
it is what it is. Eckhart Tolle talks about this extensively. Again, it's a very basic concept that we as Westerners, and I'm talking as opposed to the other side of the world in Tibet where they just have it going on, we just refuse to accept what is. We resist what is. There's nothing you can do to change it, not at that moment. When we resist what is, we cause ourselves more suffering, more stress. Pain is inevitable, that's true. Suffering, that's optional. That's when you stop those movies in your mind and you look at the other side of things. But by accepting what is, by realizing there's nothing you can do to change the situation, believe me when I tell you, everything's going to change, especially when it clicks, especially when you finally get that that's the case. Many years ago, I worked at Applebee's on the Boulevard. I was a bartender. And I was in my 20s, so that was the time of my life where on sunny days, the last place I wanted to be was behind a bar slinging drinks. And I would get in my car, and sometimes I'd just be like, oh, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. You know, I didn't want to do it the rest of my life. I wanted to get on and, you know, find that job that would make me happy. And I did this thing one time, and I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. But I got in my car, and it was a beautiful sunshiny day, and I'm driving down the road, and I rolled the window down, and I stuck my head out the window, and I went, woo! I'm going to work! Yeah! Woo! And the guy's driving by on the bike. I'm like, yeah, you're on your bike, but I'm going to work, buddy! And I kept doing that, and I would laugh at myself. And so I started doing that. My brother called me one time. I had a bigger flip cell phone. It was a little bit larger. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to work. Woo! He's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, Sean, I've been doing this and it's working. I'm enjoying going to work. He's like, you're a fruitcake. But isn't that what we need, is challenge? Do you realize that's programmed within us? Even people that you may know that you think has no drive, they have drive. They just don't know how to start that engine. Everybody has drive. And the only way we can survive, because we are an intelligent being, is by being challenged. And once we hit that ceiling and that challenge is gone, that's when you start to feel drained. So you have to turn it around. When you start doing these things and you actually take an active approach in turning and looking at the other side of things and accepting what is, I promise you things are going to change like you wouldn't believe. It does take practice. You have to sometimes convince yourself. You may find yourself giggling at your stupidity. Woohoo, I'm at work, yes! I got the good donut. I got the good donut. Another guy by the name of Jim Donovan. He's originally from New York City. He struggled with alcoholism for a long, long time. He finally got into recovery. And one of the things he did to not drink, he did a lot of work on the treadmill. He also walked around New York City. He would just, walk around aimlessly, just keeping himself out of the bottle. And he ended up at Madison Square Garden. Has anyone ever been actually inside Madison Square Garden? There was a circus coming in, and they were moving all the animals up to the 5th floor. And he thought this was pretty interesting, and he followed this little brigade in, and they were taking the ceiling tiles out to let the giraffes in, because the giraffes were so tall. And he's watching this go on. Then he goes over here, and the trainer has the elephants. And now this is a concrete floor, okay? And what the trainer he's watching is doing is he's taking this kind of this stake thing and putting a weight over it. And the guy's lifting the weight okay, so the weight's not terribly heavy. And then he's putting all this hay and straw around, and then he puts a chain onto this post to this 3-ton elephant. And Jim's thinking, there's no way that elephant's going to stay there. So he approaches the trainer and he's like, aren't you afraid that he's going to take off down Lincoln Tunnel? And the trainer says, no, not at all. Well, why not? These 3 tons, he could pull this thing right out. And the trainer explained, when the elephants are very small, the first thing they do is drive that stake into the ground. I don't condone any of this. They put them on that short chain, and that elephant just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. And it can't break free. Pauses for a little bit, pulls and pulls again, and tries again, and after about a week, the elephant gives up. And even though elephants forget, they are conditioned to know that they are tied to this short rope. So my question to you is, what short ropes are holding you back? What belief system are you buying into that holds you back? Is it all that negativity? Is it lack of love for yourself? Is it not believing that you can have, do, and be anything you want? Because you absolutely can. It's all yours. You write the story. You can change it at any time. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are in your life, what you do, what you've been through. It's yours for the taking. And anybody that tells you that you can't, that's their limitation, not yours.